This is what a life of a real FBI director looks like. At 4 o'clock in the morning, I start my coffee, and I check my Border Patrol app to see how many people I get to deport today. Skip the shower, fix my tie, and now I'm ready. On the way to work, I have a sensible donut, sip my coffee, and listen to the police scanner for any crime. At 6 o'clock, it's time to get to work. I walk through the Hoover building checking under the desk for anyone crying. Those people go straight to jail. At 12 o'clock, I have a lunch break. The leftover chicken marsala give me the energy to finish the day. At 1 o'clock, I like to call Adam Schiff's cell phone and play a recording of a clock ticking. At 5 o'clock, it is time to go home. I slap Dan Bongino's ass and say good game. When I get home, I eat more chicken marsala and then go to bed with my deck of cards. And that is...
What's up, guys? It's Benny. Kash Patel and Dan Bongino have been under constant, withering attacks from the right and the left ever since they swore in at the FBI. This is because the FBI is the goon squad for the deep state, and also because Republicans are rightly furious at that organization and want reform. So the pressure's good. Hold these two men accountable. And now it looks like the way to break that heart of darkness inside of the deep state is to just release everything. Dan Bongino is out with a new interview this morning on Fox and Friends, his first solo interview since becoming FBI deputy director at the direct request of President Trump. Dan Bongino talked about how he just can't say no to Donald Trump. When Donald Trump asked him to do this, he just put everything aside. Dan Bongino, very, very successful broadcaster, streamer, businessman, and it's all been put on hold so that Dan can go there and not have cutesy time so that he can go there and actually crack skulls. It looks like Dan is about to do that. And the way to gut the place is just to be out with all of the secrets. FBI escalates probe into cocaine found at White House, Supreme Court leak, and January 6th. Dan Bongino out this morning with a brand new interview explaining this process.
The moment Kash and I swore in, we realized that the first thing we had to do is rebuild public trust. This is your FBI. It's not mine. I tell the employees every day, you don't own it, you don't own it, I don't own it. It's like being the center fielder for the Yankees. That'll live with you forever, but you don't own the Yankees. It's a proud franchise. The place has taken a reputational hit. There is zero question about it. There were a lot of bad actors. One of them still out there causing us all kinds of trouble. So we had to fix it and rebuild public trust. One of the ways to do it is these cases of significant public interest that matter. You know, we had 2 pipe bombs planted on January 6th. I mean, we were told by partisan actors out there this was the insurrection, the world was going to fall apart, and no one seemed to show any interest in this case. The second we got in, I put a team on it, and I said, I want answers on this. And I'm pretty confident that we're closing in on some suspects. The reason, by the way, I use social media with these cases, I'm trying to communicate on social media, is nothing's by accident, guys. I do nothing by accident. Every time I put a tweet out on it, we get tips. We got a fascinating tip on one of these cases, one of the 3. I don't want to say which one, but I'm pretty confident that we're going to close out one of them, hopefully shortly.
What's taken so long on all of this, right? So, one, there's been a couple of years of deep state cover-up and destruction of evidence. They've also been able to hide evidence. Dan Bongino talked about how they've had to literally unlock rooms and search in mysterious corridors of the FBI in order to find this stuff. It was hidden from them.
This stuff that's coming out.
Does he still have loyalists in the building? Because when I hear the FBI director saying, you guys are finding boxes that are hidden, okay, how does that happen in the Bureau?
Well, we were there a couple of weeks, and luckily there were a lot of people up there who grabbed us by the arm the minute we came in and said, thank you for being here. You know, we need to talk. There are people there who are really horrified at what happened. And there was a room, and we found stuff, a lot of stuff.
A hidden room.
I wouldn't call it hidden, but hidden from us at least, and not mentioned to us. And then we found stuff in there, and a lot of it's from the Comey era, and we are working our damnedest right now to declassify. And just so you know, because I get the public, I totally understand people saying, well, do it now. The process is not all the information is ours to declassify. Some is other intelligence agencies. It's not, we literally can't do it. Once that gets done and that gets out there and you read some of the stuff we found that, by the way, was not processed through the normal procedure, digitizing it, putting in FBI records. We found it in bags hiding under Jim Comey's FBI. Quickly, you're going to be stunned.
You're going to be stunned. So then they go on to talk about something that Kash said last night, that they are having to take enormous amounts of manpower off of other cases of horrific crimes. No doubt Americans suffering, maybe dying, because the FBI is redirecting manpower to go after James Comey's dumbass post, illegal post. He should be put in prison for this. He's threatening the life of the president, calling for an assassination of Donald Trump. Director Kash Patel said the Bureau has been overwhelmed by copycat threats. Donald Trump's life. James Comey shared a controversial Instagram post. Patel told Fox News' Bret Baier that the FBI director's post, which showed seashells on the beach, and it's calling for the assassination of Donald Trump. Do you know how many copycats we've had, results of the beachside venture? Do you know how many agents we have to take off of chasing down child sex predators and fentanyl traffickers and terrorists? Because everywhere across the country now, people are popping up on social media and think that it's funny to threaten the life of the President of the United States. It's not a joke. It's illegal. Kash grew frustrated, saying yes, he has to deal with this every single day because of dumbass James Comey. And Dan Bongino not happy about it either.
Of all the things that have surprised me in the close to now 3 months I've been here is the depravity of Jim Comey. This man is a disgrace to the badge, the FBI, and the country. What he's doing right now, one, going out in the media, taking shots at Kash. Kash doesn't belong. Kash was the chief of staff at the Department of. Kash is a patriot. Kash has served in numerous high-level roles, taking personal shots while you're on the beach, implying a threat towards the president, and blaming your wife about it. And let me just add about James Comey, Saint Comey, who walks around there moralizing to everyone how wonderful of a human being he is. What you said is absolutely accurate. We have wasted countless man hours now running out tips to our tip line about people putting 8647 because of Jim Comey, because he cannot control himself and his emotions. He is a child.
So Dan Bongino going on in the interview to say that he is hunted down major points of extreme cover-up and information on his focus. And his focus is the leaked Supreme Court decisions that nearly led to the death of Supreme Court justices, January 6th, and the pipe bomber, and the cocaine at the White House. Dan Bongino saying that they are going to make big announcements soon about all of these. Well, good. Dan Bongino also saying and stating with a with a slightly greater explanation why he believes that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. Very interesting, because this is a change from what Dan Bongino said on his show. On his show, Dan Bongino said he didn't think that Epstein killed himself, and that he was killed. And, of course, very credible people have come on this program to tell us that Epstein was killed in federal lockup. That's like mainstream at this point, right? Is what we all believe. Here's Dan Bongino's explanation here.
Two cases obviously are of significant public interest. I'm just telling you what we see in the file. I just want to be crystal clear on this. I am not asking anyone to believe me. I'm telling you what's there and what isn't. Right. There is nothing in the file at this point on the Epstein case, and there's going to be a disclosure on this coming shortly. We are working through there is video. That is something the public does not.
There's video of him killing himself.
No, not the actual act, but the entire MCC Bay. It was only one camera. There's video that when you look at the video, and we will release, that's what's taken a while on this. We are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans. You're going to see there's no one there but him. Right. There's just nobody there. So I say to people all the time, if you have a tip, let us know. But there's no DNA, there's no audio, there's no fingerprints, there's no suspects, there's no accomplices, there's no tips, there is nothing. If you have it, I'm happy to see it. There's video clear as day. He's the only person in there and the only person coming out. You can see it. So
what do you think about that? I'll say this, that I'm not going to kill the messenger, right? As the old saying goes. Release all of the evidence, serve it up to the American public, and things will change. Am I convinced? No, of course not. Release all the evidence, and then we'll have the conversation. Tucker Carlson saying there's no way this could be true, or could it?
Came in or out of the tier, Barr said. Therefore, Jeffrey Epstein killed himself.
Okay, so pausing right there. That's exactly what Bongino says. So this is Tucker's reporting from 2 years ago, saying that nobody went in or out of the tier, and so no one else could have done it. But here's the problem.
So let's consider that claim rationally. On the night of August 9th, Jeffrey Epstein was being held in the special housing unit of the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan, the most secure part of the city's federal lockup. It would be physically impossible for a stranger to get in and out of this facility without an electronic pass and without being seen by the countless cameras in place between the street and the locked 9th floor of the building. So if Jeffrey Epstein was murdered, he was not murdered by an intruder, someone who came into the tier. He was murdered by someone on his own cell block, obviously. There were 7 other cells on Epstein's tier, and each one housed dangerous criminals. So if you were looking for a killer, you would figure out who was in those cells. But no one seems to have thought of that or done it.
There you go.
The Bureau of Prisons refused to provide us with a list of the inmates on Epstein's tier. It's not clear how many of them were even interviewed by investigators, despite the fact that some of them were transferred out of the facility shortly after Epstein's death. That's a baffling oversight.
So wouldn't that stand to reason that Epstein perhaps... So let's look at the... Dan Bongino saying the same thing as Tucker Carlson. I know both of these men to be credible. So they're saying the same thing, that nobody came in or out. What Tucker's saying is take that to its next logical conclusion. Who was there? We know that there was a serial strangler who's like a Hulk-like bodybuilder that was there with Epstein. Could they have unlocked the cells? Could Epstein have been killed? Could Epstein have paid for somebody to kill him? Release the evidence. And then we'll continue to have the conversation. But I like that we're having the conversation. I like that they're out doing media. I think it's good. I think they should do more of it. Not go overboard, but they should go and explain these actions, and especially when there's big releases, to make sure that they drive the point home, especially on some of these major cases. So, positives all around. Keep going. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe if you want them to release everything on Jeffrey Epstein. See ya.